So the May stats came out, and as we've been treading along through June, we're still going to go through these stats to get you the numbers, and that way when the June stats do come out, you'll have something to compare it to, especially as the headlines continue to grab all things real estate. I'm Michael Ouzas. I'm a realtor in the Greater Toronto Area, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think about these May stats and what you think is going to come next as we head through the end of June and into the official start of summer. And if you ever want to book in a call with me, click on that first link in the description down below. Let's start with the Greater Toronto Area stats, and average sale price 1.16 million. So we're just under last year's 1.2 million, which is about 1.2% lower than last year. We have seen active listings down 23% from a year-over-year standpoint, and total number of sales up 24% from last year. So definitely been seeing more absorption when it comes to sales and active listings. As we recall, last year, things started to slow down in May as we headed into June, and July was that hammer of a 1% interest rate increase. And as we recall, months of inventory is a seller's market anywhere between 0 and 3 months of inventory. So at the 1.32 mark, definitely in seller territory. As we look at Toronto proper, average sale price, very similar, just under 1.2 million. That's down about 3% from where things were last year. Active listings down about 17% and number of sales up 22%. So last year in May, we had a pretty slow month at 2,600 sales. And the year before was 4,100 sales. If we look at months of inventory, about a month and a half months of inventory. And of course, Toronto has a large number of condos. Prices down about 1% from where they were in May 2022. And sales up 30% or just over 30% of where things were in May of 2022. If we take a look at the monthly sales data, and this paints a good year over year story as we can see the trend month over month as we go along. Number of sales last year in May, 7,200. This year in May, 9,000, which actually was the highest amount of sales that we have seen in a year. Active listings at 11,000. That kind of is average from where things were across the board throughout May to May. Last year, active number of listings, 15,000. And in June 2022 was 16,000. So I don't think we'll hit that number quite yet, but definitely been seeing more uptick as we've headed through June. 1.32 months of inventory, our lowest number in over a year. An average sale price just under that 1.2 mark, which brings us all the way back past June of last year and closer towards May of last year. It'll be interesting to see how these June numbers play out as they come in. Days on market at 14. It's our lowest since May of last year as well. On our TRREB market watch, this is a 5-year trend from 2018 through 2023. And active listings in 2018 was 21,000, 2019, 20,000, and then we were in the 11,000 range back in 2020. We know what happened in 2020. We're just a little bit ahead of that right now in 2023. So not a ton of active listings comparatively to previous years for the month of May, which is in that spring market. And months of inventory, one of the lowest we have seen for a month of May in 5 years. 2021 was the lowest at 1.03. Number of sales definitely creeping up to more of a 2019 level versus where things have been in 2022 and definitely below in 2021. Here's our price chart, and I like showing this to kind of see where things were at the peak of 2022 and where things are in May of 2023. This is for the Greater Toronto Area, so in red we have single family homes, in blue we have townhouses, and in orange apartments or condos. We saw the trend go up, and February 22 was the peak. The low was January 2023, and things have been increasing since. We're up a good amount since January 2023, about, I would say, on average, somewhere between 8 to 12%, depending on the market and the area. Definitely property type as well. Same story when it comes to townhouses. The peak for townhouses of the Greater Toronto Area was March 2022, and December 22 was actually the low. And where we are now in May of 2023, that's up about 60 to 70,000 from December 2022, which is give or take 8 to 10% or so for towns. Same story for condos. The peak for condos across the board for the Greater Toronto Area, April 2022. The low was January 2023. Now we're up about give or take 30,000 since January, which is about 5% or so since then. When we look at the city of Toronto, it's basically a very similar story as the rest of the Greater Toronto Area. Peak for single family homes, and that includes attached or detached, February 2022 with the low of December 2022. The jump from December 2022 to May 2023, almost $150,000. So quite a big jump from December to May. And in townhouses, May 2022 for Toronto was actually the peak. December was the low. And May 2023, we're up about 40, 50 grand, which is another 5 to 7%. Same story for condos, with the peak being in March 2022 and the low being actually in February 2023 of this year. Things have still progressed since February through May. So that's your market update for May. And as we've been heading through the month of June, there are a few things that have been going on in the Toronto real estate market. The first one is that the Bank of Canada increased rates this month by 0.25%. And as we saw last year where rates started to increase, it definitely slowed down the market. Now, I don't think 0.25% will really put a huge pause on the market, especially given the fact that fixed rates are typically cheaper than variable these days. So it'll be interesting to see how things progress through the month of July. And now we are at the end of the spring market and heading into the summer market. So definitely interesting. If you're a buyer right now, this could present a bit of an opportunity, as if there are any listings that have been sitting for some time, and as more properties start coming to the market, even though they might not be priced super aggressively just yet, there might be some room for negotiation. And if you're a seller and you are wondering what your property is worth in today's market, it could be worth having that conversation just to see where things stand, as we've gone through a pretty good increase from January till now. And if you watched this long, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think is going to happen in the summer market. I'm curious to hear your thoughts and open up that discussion down below. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.